Before the advent of colonialism, traditional rulers were both the political, social, cultural, and economic administrators of their various localities. They were parts of the immutable African culture, which ensured harmony and stability in the society. However, the situation changed when colonial rule was imposed on African societies. It was at this period that the traditional rulers were subordinated and became instrumental to the realization of the objectives of the indirect rule system. Although they have no formal role in the democratic structure, traditional rulers continue to have considerable influence and command respect from their people. They play useful roles in preserving the culture and traditions, enhancing national identity, resolving minor conflicts, mediating between the people and the state, and providing an institutional safety valve for often inadequate state bureaucracies. Igwe Nnaemeka Alfred Achebe is one of Nigeria's first-class traditional rulers, and I am truly honored to have him on View from the Top today. Your Royal Majesty, we thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
And we thank you for tuning in. Let's quickly get you acquainted with His Royal Majesty before we launch into our conversation. Igwe Nnaemeka Alfred Achebe was born in Onitsha on 14 May 1941. He got a bachelor's degree in chemistry from the prestigious Stanford University in California and a master's degree in business administration in the equally famous Columbia University in New York City. He also attended the National Institute for Policy and Strategic Studies in Kuru. After a brief working experience in the United States, Igwe Achebe returned to Nigeria in 1972 to begin a long career with the Shell Petroleum Development Company of Nigeria. Over a period of 30 years, he held several positions in strategic functions, including human resources, operations, external relations, general management, and international representation and reputation management. He's a fellow of the Nigerian Institute of Management, member of the Nigerian Economic Society, the Nigerian Institute of Personnel Management, the Nigerian Institute of Public Relations, and Nigerian Environmental Society. He also belongs to the Commonwealth Institute and the American Academy of Management. Dr. Nnaemeka Achebe is the chairman of Diamond Bank, Unilever Nigeria PLC, Universal Insurance Company Limited, and OMAC Maritime Limited. He served as a delegate to the National Political Reforms Conference in 2005, and in 2010, he became Chancellor, Kogi State University. Igwe Achebe ascended the throne on May 14, 2002 as the 21st Obi of Onitsha, and is the chairman, Anambra State Traditional Council. Your Royal Majesty, there obviously has been an enormous erosion of the powers of the traditional rulers in Nigeria. What are the roles and relevance of the traditional institution in the emerging political arrangement?
Before the colonial days, I think I should say that the primary role of the traditional rulers was to defend the territory, their own territory, or the territory of their people. Now, we fought wars against one another for territory, and unfortunately also, at some stage, even for slaves, which we sold to the white people. In the 21st century, we still have wars to fight. We're not fighting for territory anymore because Nigeria is one. But ignorance, we have to fight against ignorance, against poverty, against disease, and on the positive side, we have to ensure the prosperity of our people. So the role of the traditional ruler today is not changed from what it was in the olden days. It's the nature of what we have to do to improve the lives of our people and to lead our people, to set examples and to ensure that our communities are wholesome. And that remains very, very important in every sense of it. That's why we still have the traditional rulers being very relevant in the lives of the people.
How can we ensure that it continues to be relevant in the years to come without losing its distinguished identity?
You'll notice the pattern that has been emerging for many, many years now. Take Oba Akinzuwa, for instance. He read in Cambridge, had several degrees, came back to Nigeria, served in the public service, even became a minister for a while before he went on the throne. The same pattern is repeating itself. You know, the Sanawe of Ondo is a distinguished medical doctor. The Igwe of Umuoji was vice president of IFAD, the United Nations organization, accomplished financial manager. And if you go all over the country now, every community is seeking to put on their throne their best and the brightest, which one reflects the significance that the communities put on their leadership, their traditional leadership in the 21st century. It also reflects the expectation that people have of their traditional rulers. So as I said earlier on, our role today is the enhancement of the well-being of our people at the community level. Additionally, because Nigeria now is a large country of different ethnic nationalities with many, many traditional rulers, we as traditional rulers have a role to contribute also to the oneness of Nigeria by building bridges amongst ourselves. So I have regular contact with my fellow traditional rulers in the north, the south, the west, all over the country. Informal contacts, but also we have formal contacts.
There has been a clamor for the traditional ruler's role to be enshrined in the Constitution.
Yes.
What difference would that make if it happens?
Well, it will make some difference, but we have to be clear what difference it will make. As I did say, my primary responsibility is the well-being of Onitsha people. I lead Onitsha people, ensure that our children are educated, that there is opportunity for employment for them, that they don't go into evil, and so on and so forth. I don't need the Constitution to do that. It's my traditional responsibility, and I go ahead and do it. But then, when it comes to the traditional rulers coming together to share ideas, to advise government, and to look at the broad challenges of the country, then I think you need an institutional framework for that. That's where we need the role of the traditional rulers to be in the Constitution and properly provided for by the Constitution, so that we can get together amongst ourselves at the regional and national levels to share ideas, to advise the government, and be part of solution to the national challenges.
In the early 1960s, the Ooni of Ife, the late Oba Aderemi, was elected to the House of Representatives and appointed a federal minister.
Yes.
The late Oba of Badagry was also elected into the House of Assembly and served as minister under Awolowo and Akintola.
Yes.
Is that scenario possible in the Nigeria of today? And should it happen?
Well,
should traditional rulers have that kind of role?
I think we have to ask ourselves, what value did they provide in those appointments, other than having the appointments? I think many of us today would advocate that the traditional rulers should have their own institution and their own body. And then at the highest level, the proposal or the suggestion, for instance, is that the Council of States